Hello there, I'm Kaz. It's New Year's Eve, a time for reflection of the past and looking forward to the future. For me, it's about making amends for my past mistakes. Aside from that one.
About a year ago, I made my first countdown for my favorite handheld, the Nintendo DS and its excellent library of games.
Spoilers, it sucked.
It was a poorly written and edited mess that did not meet my standard when it was originally made. Its quality can probably be attributed to the fact that the list itself was made 2 years before the actual video, with minor updates at best to certain entries, and I deeply regret not starting it from scratch. That said, I see no reason to simply make another top 20, especially considering that the top 2 spots would remain unchanged, but I recognize that the DS has a lot of great titles that I should have taken into consideration when making it. As such, this is going to be a countdown of some of the titles that I should have thought of when putting together that list. Like before, no remix or port, just fresh new titles for the Nintendo DS and DSi. These are my top 10 honorable mentions for the Nintendo DS.
Well, the wait is over. This is Nintendo DS.
Number 10. This polite gentleman may not be as well known or as loved as Layton, but his game definitely deserves the same respect for his puzzling adventure. Part action platformer, part puzzle game, Henry Hatsworth and the Puzzling Adventure brings together the best of both worlds with top-notch levels and fun puzzles to solve at the same time. What more would you expect from a game where you pilot a golden British robot?
This is Nintendo DS.
Number 9. Simplistic almost to a fault, Rhythm Heaven is a delightful treat to music lovers and rhythm players everywhere. Solid groups of minigames are further complemented by its soothing soundtrack and become songs of their own. Enjoyable with or without the sound, there's simply nothing more satisfying than that feeling when you're completely in sync with Rhythm Heaven. Except for the next 8 entries.
This is Nintendo DS.
Number 8. A promotional tie-in that's better than the actual game it's promoting? Yep. Originally made as nothing more than a joke by Capcom, this full-lost project came out of their role to DSiWare in all its 8-bit glory. Fantastic music and solid levels, coupled with the magnificently realized jetpack mechanic, make for one of the best throwback titles to date. This would have ranked higher up, but its short length and lack of replayability keep Dark Void Zero from soaring any higher than number 8. That, and it repeats the same boss fight 3 times.
That's right, the same boss 3 times.
This is Nintendo DS.
Number 7. You know that friend who never shuts up about how games are so easy nowadays? Take this game, make them sit through the tutorial, and see how long they go before throwing their DS across the room. Forget Demon's Souls, this is the fast-paced, reflex-testing, action-packed massacre that you've been looking for. Treasure's sequel to the Dreamcast classic does not disappoint, with its old-school run-and-gun action filled with explosion after explosion after explosion, and look at all this madness going on in the DS! Also, piloting a mech while swinging a baseball bat. Because Treasure. The only downside is that with all this insanity going on, all that fast-paced action really slows down, but that's a small price to pay for one of Treasure's best games ever.
This is Nintendo DS.
Number 6. Mighty Flip Chance is such a darn good game, but it's, not on the list. So how do I describe this? Okay, so there's a green-skinned alien who creates planets with candy that she finds and uses these planets to escape her ex-boyfriend who is a TX with robot claws and laser eyes. Oh, and did I mention that she speaks French too? Quel étrange jeu électronique! Mais c'est fantastique! As weird as this game is, it really is the forgotten gem of the Mighty Trilogy. With a creative concept like that, and even more creative levels and mechanics behind it, this is a DSiWare title that should be on everyone's list of must-download games. As the Creepy Pineapple says,
Lisez parler avec nous. C'est formidable, exceptionnel, c'est excellent, sensationnel, c'est merveilleux, c'est magnifique.
Ugh, that show still gives me nightmares. Next number.
This is Nintendo DS.
Number 5. When you think about feudal Japan, what do you think? Shogun, samurai, classism, and classic tales about honorable warriors. When you think about video games about feudal Japan, look no further than Pokémon Conquest. An unexpected crossover with Nobunaga's ambition, Pokemon Conquest turned out to be one of the best spin-offs the series has seen in years, thanks to clever AI and an even more brilliant blend of the battle system from the Pokemon series and strategy for Nobunaga's ambition. Sure, you weren't able to change your moves, and it didn't have every Pokemon out there, but it had a plethora of content to enjoy, and even more strategic simulation to experience after the credits rolled. And hey, if we do get a sequel, we can finally have swords fighting magnets. In Strategic Combat Affair, haha!
This is Nintendo DS.
Number 4. I've already talked about this in my review a year back, but it bears repeating. Mixing gorgeous sprite work, excellent progression, and the unique monster AI in a Metroidvania-style game resulted in a delicious treat for DS owners everywhere. Monster Tale was all that and more, with some infectiously catchy tunes and an interesting pet simulator to boot. It's a shame that the game did as poorly as it did, because as fun as it is, there is room for a sequel to improve upon it. We can only dream.
This is Nintendo DS.
Number 3. Never heard of this game? Well, you might have heard of the character because he was an assist trophy in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. So after being shunned from the Super Smash Bros. Series, someone over at Nintendo must have felt bad for him because they finally released one of his games over here in the West. The legendary Starfy may not live up to his name, but his game certainly does, with charming levels and fun water physics. How good is this adorable little game? Well, let me put it like this. This game made one long underwater level fun all the way through. Underwater level. Fun. Underwater level. Fun. How many games have you played that can honestly make that claim? The answer? Not that many.
This is Nintendo DS.
Number 2. It may not be Dual Strike, but it's definitely Advance Wars. That good old tactful series gave the DS one last hurrah with Advance Wars Days of Ruin, chock full of new units, excellent maps, and a story that's not terrible this time around. If this truly is the last Advance Wars game that we ever get, then it's good to know we ended on a high note. Days of Ruin is a shining strategic gem among the entire DS library.
This is Nintendo DS.
Number 1. Taking a step out of the castle for the first time in years, Order of Ecclesia stepped back to the series' gothic roots while staying true to the always amazing Metroidvania formula. Just about everything that made previous Castlevania games classic is front and center. Brilliant bosses, brutal difficulty, superb level design, and pixel-perfect sprite work. Top that off with an incredible soundtrack and the innovative glyph system, and you got yourself one devilishly fantastic handheld masterpiece. Not only the best Castlevania game to ever be featured on a handheld, but one of the best Castlevania titles ever, Castlevania Order of Ecclesia tops the list as the most honorable title to mention for the Nintendo DS.
So that's my top 10 honorable mentions for the Nintendo DS. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy New Year, everyone, and until next time, game on, my friends.